Hello, everyone. Super thrilled to be here. I am over the moon today because I have an amazing guest that's going to be joining us in just a few minutes. This is absolutely 100% an honor for me to be able to talk to you all today about someone and something special that is happening in this person's life. And I'm just like, so incredibly honored to be able to share in this. And so I've just shared my screen and I wanted to show you Amy Thurman, who has just completely lit up my life with encouragement and motivation. She stepped into my life just one day in a community. It was not by happenstance. Nothing happens by happenstance. And so we connected. And from there, we have been, I'm not going to say joined at the hip only because we're in two different states, but I do believe that if we were in the same state, in the same city, in the same jurisdiction, we would be joined at the hips because this is my girl. I love her so, so very much. So, Amy, and I'm going to let her tell her story, but she's been living with a broken neck for so many years. But Amy has not let that get her down. And so, you all know I love to hear how people power through just different situations and circumstances that happen in their life. And so Amy has recently written a book and it's now released and it's Finding My Hero Within. Listen, y'all, and I had to pull out the country, the y'all. Y'all, this is so amazing. And when you hear Amy's story, and when you understand how this book came about, you're going to be just as joined to her hip as I am. So I want to bring Amy to the stage. Amy, are you there? Can we bring you to the stage? Let's see. There,
I'm here.
I love it.
Yay.
How are you
I'm
today?
giving you a virtual hug. Oh my gosh.
Yes,
I just love you so much.
I love you too, Amy. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well, doing really, really well. Thank you.
Awesome. We've got so much to catch up on, and I know that you have shared your journey from beginning up until now. So much of it. You've been extremely transparent. So Amy, before we jump into finding my hero within, let's talk about how this all started. And I'm going to move myself out of the way and I want to just really spotlight you for a second. So if that's okay with you all, I really want you to really hear what Amy has to say. I want you to hear, just feel her heart and walk with her through her journey. So Amy, the floor is yours.
Oh my goodness. Karina, thank you so much. I'm just so honored to be here and that you would take the time to do this and to just help me spread this message because I just feel like I have been given this as a gift to spread to the world, to help people. And you're helping me just means so much to me. And so my book is 10 years worth of fighting my way from being completely incapacitated to now living an empowered life. Because back in 2014, I was working at a major university, have 3 kids. I was running them everywhere, doing all the things that moms do. I was volunteering, was working a lot of hours. So I rarely sat still. I was doing so many things. And literally the next day, I couldn't even take care of myself. I got up during the night. I didn't feel well, and I ended up passing out, and I landed on my face on the hardwood floor. And the impact from that, it sheared my brainstem, caused a traumatic brain injury, and it actually broke my neck, but that one undetected for 6 months. And so for almost a year after the accident, I had to lay flat in a bed for 23 hours a day for almost a year. I couldn't walk. It's very emotional, so I appreciate your understanding as the emotions arise because they always do. I couldn't walk, I couldn't talk, I couldn't hear or see correctly, and I had to wear a cover over my eyes and earplugs in my ears. And I completely missed that entire year of my kids' lives. My daughter was a senior in high school. My son was a freshman in high school, and my younger son was 4 years old. And so I completely missed that year of their lives. And as you can imagine, it sent me into this deep, deep, dark place that I would never, ever wish on anyone. And so I began to pray. And I prayed and I prayed and I prayed that I would die because I was not living. I was merely existing. And everyone had to do everything for me. I could not even take myself to the restroom. And so I was still living though. I was praying that I would die, but I was still alive. And so I knew that I had to take matters into my own hands. And I knew that I had enough pain medication to make it happen. And so I had this plan. That's what I was going to do. I was going to put myself and my family out of their misery because my husband said it was like living in a nursing home. They had to be so quiet, they had to keep it dark so that it wouldn't cause my head to hurt. And keep in mind, this whole time, nobody can figure out what's wrong with me. Like I'm going to all these doctors and nobody can figure out what's wrong with me. And so I just felt like I was such a burden. And so I had this plan to use this pain medication, to put an end to this. And if you've ever been in a dark place where I feel like most people have, you'll understand this. It's very muddy. Like excuse me, your thinking is very foggy. You just are not thinking clearly. And so the only way I know how to explain what happened is that I just had this moment of clarity where I've just thought very clearly. And I remember thinking, what if I don't have to die? What if I can take the same energy I'm using fighting so hard to die and use it to fight to live instead? Maybe if I do that and I can get better, I can use my experience to help other people. And as a former educator and social worker, that motivated me. Yes, I wanted to be there for my kids and my family, but the thought of maybe being able to use my experience if I could get better to help others it was enough to help to encourage me to press pause on my plan and to really sit with it and think, maybe this is possible. And so that's pretty much what I did. I decided to fight to live instead with the intention of using my story to help other people. And so that's what I get to do now. That was 10 years ago, and I have lived the past 10 years with a broken neck. So I can still only hold my head up for a few hours at a time and I have to rest a lot. But it's been a long journey to getting this book out there. When you're in the moment and you're living it, you don't think there's anything special about it. And people kept telling me, "You really need to put this in a book. Like, it's very inspiring, it's very encouraging. You need to put this in a book form." And I kept saying, "Well, I don't know that my story is really worth putting in a book." But when you hear that over and over again, I ended up, "Okay, I get the message, I understand." And so I started writing it. That's a whole nother story, but I started writing it, but it was extremely difficult. Like, honestly, this is the most difficult thing I've ever done because I had to relive it. Putting it on the paper, I had to get back in there into all those emotions, all of that grief, all of that fear and pain to bring it forth again, to put it onto the paper. And so I stopped and started so many times I lost track. And at one point I thought, I just can't do it. Like, it's just too hard. I can't do this. And someone said to me, why don't you think about writing it from the person you are now instead of the person you were then? And that blew my mind, but it made all the difference in the world. And so that's what I did. I took the person I am now and I wrote it from that perspective. And so what ended up happening was I had this first version of my book that I was like, oh, it doesn't feel good. But writing it from the person I am now became a whole different animal, like a whole different story. And that's what you see today is Finding My Hero Within, A Journey from Incapacitation to Empowerment is written from the perspective of the person I am today, looking back as I was going through it in the moment. And so it has been quite a journey, and I'm excited to be able to share it with the world because, like I said, I feel like it's a gift I've been given. It has not been fun, it has not been easy, but I feel like it's a gift that I have been given to share with the world, and I'm just so grateful for people like you, Karina, who are willing to help me get the message out so that hopefully it will be able to touch lives and help other people. So, thank you.
Absolutely, absolutely, Amy. Just, for those of you that are listening, take a moment to just really take in all that Amy has shared with us just in these few minutes, to live with something for 6 months and not know what it's stemming from, why it's happening, and for it to completely 100%, we're not even going to say 99.9, we're going to say 100% affect your life, is completely, like, to think about that and try to put yourself in those shoes is, it's almost like I can't comprehend it. But I wanted to just take a moment to look at, so Amy, your book is currently available on Amazon, and
Yes.
you've got the paperback at $19.99. So please, you all, that's, I'm not trying to say I know everyone's pockets or, money, whatever your money situation is, but you're not only helping to get this message out, but you're sewing into someone who is just tremendously, in a tremendous way, come from so far to now let me stand and tell my story. But I wanted to, I noticed that there were 3 reviews on here. So I wanted to share those with you all. I want to read those. And the first one is from Teresa Allen, and she says, Amy's story about being a hero. And she says, I love it. I know Amy personally. I learned things about Amy I did not know. I can relate to Michael about a caregiver because I was one last year to my boyfriend. I received my book. I could not put the book down at all. I read it in 2 settings. I will read this book again over and over. I love to read about people, their lives and stories. And I just find that amazing, to be able to hear what someone else has said. This is someone that knows Amy personally, and she still learned some things about her, you know. And you talked about, Amy, the fact that you had made up in your mind that you didn't want to live anymore. And I can only imagine the people just like Teresa Allen who knew you, who know you personally, but found out some things about you that they did not know. And thankfully, you're here to tell them in your own words from today's Amy. And they're not reading this in some, you know, thank God they're not reading it in an obituary or something of that nature, but the fact that you've put it down in words here today with the today Amy. We love the today Amy. We love that the today Amy has taken this road and said, I'm gonna own this. I'm gonna own this. And so then Jill Abbott says determination and strength is her inner hero. I couldn't put Amy's book down. I had no idea what Amy had endured and survived. Truly inspiring memoir that against all odds, anything is possible. And no matter who you are or what you've gone through, you can achieve anything to set your mind to. And sharing her story will help so many others along the way. Amazing. And knowing and understanding that this person resonates with the inner hero, because we all have an inner hero. It doesn't matter what situation you have encountered. I don't want to diminish Amy's situation. I don't want to diminish whoever's listening, your situation. It doesn't matter the level of the intensity of it. It's still a situation that you've gone through, are going through, will go through, and nonetheless you are the hero. And that is what Amy is relaying to us. And then Sherry Nath says resilience and revelation when silenced by medical professionals. And Sherry says, how does one woman find a voice when her screams are silenced and ignored? I just want to pause there for a second. I want to pause there because how many of us women have experienced that? Our screams are silenced and ignored, but yet there's still screams. Find the strength, Sherry says, in this book as you read Amy's story and allow it to resonate within you. Each step in her journey will reveal layers of her and your hero within. Absolutely phenomenal. 100% phenomenal. So, I want to just really encourage you, go and get Amy's book, Finding My Hero Within, A Journey from Incapacitation to Empowerment. I'll learn how to speak shortly. But find this book on Amazon, grab your copy as soon as possible, because I have a feeling this is going to go quick, it's going to go far, and we're going to hear so much about Amy in the coming days and months. Because listen, this is something that needs to circulate the world. It needs to circulate the earth. Everyone talked about the eclipse recently. We're going to be talking about Amy Thurman in the same way, in the very same way. I know this. I know this without a shadow of a doubt. Amy, any last words of encouragement you want to give? You've already written a book. You've lived a life of encouragement. You've written a book of encouragement. So we want more. We want more from you. Any last words of encouragement?
You are making me cry over here. Oh my goodness. It's just so touching and moving. And, I never set out to do this or to be this person. My whole purpose has been I want to help others and I want my story to be used to help others. And it's just like the window flew open and things are just happening like this. But the thing that I think stands out to me the most is I never saw myself as this person, that it took other people pouring into me, just like you, Karina. You have poured into me. You are one of my coaches. You have helped me see a different version of myself. You have helped me see myself from a different perspective that I never was able to see. And so it's so important that we allow others to pour into us. We as women, we don't want to ask for help. We think we can do it all. But when we do ask for help, there's so much power in it because I would never have met you and been able to work with you and been able to become the person I am without your input and without all that you have poured into me. And so I just want to send that message too. And I talk about it in my book too, that how asking for help it's a very powerful thing. And we need to learn to embrace that because it can change our lives.
100%. Amy Thurman, I love you with my whole heart. You know this without a shadow of a doubt. And I truly, truly hope and pray just exponential growth for you in your book. And as I said, I'm waiting to see it circulate the earth. I do believe
Oh,
that that's going to happen. And so, so much, so much, so much is coming from you and your journey. And so I just want to say a heartfelt thank you for sharing it with us, being extremely transparent with your thoughts, your journey, everything. So, folks, this has been another great episode of Go Be Great with Coach Karina. And we've had Amy Thurman of Polish the Mirror, and she has recently released her new book, not her last book. I will just go ahead and say that, not her last book. She's just released her book, and I encourage you to go out and grab it. So I will see you all on the flip side. Bye for now.